Hi, everyone. I'm Kara Sundlin. We have breaking news right now in Mansfield. There's a train derailment. Cars carrying flammable liquefied natural gas have gone off the side of the road, the side of the tracks, according to Deep. Several cars are reported now to be in a nearby river, and evacuations are underway. This is also a no-fly zone in Mansfield. Pinpoint News Tracker will show you exactly where it's happened. Route 32 is closed in both directions, right between Route 44 and North Eagleville Road. I want to go right out to Luke Hydash, who is live on the scene with what he can tell us about this train derailment. Luke.
Kara, we've got a pretty good vantage point from where we are here now on Route 32. You can see a lot of emergency crews down there on the tracks right now dealing with this situation. You can see all of those train cars that have derailed. We know at least some of them are even further down the way. They're actually in the Willimantic River. DEAP tells us a total of 14 train cars went off the tracks earlier this morning. 5 of them are in the river at least. These cars are carrying a flammable liquefied gas fuel, and there is likely to be a half-mile evacuation, if not larger. That information from the CTDEEP just about 1 hour ago. Now, Route 32 is closed for quite a distance here in this area. We're in Mansfield, between routes 44 down to the Eagleville area, so a large stretch of 32 closed. As the crews deal with this situation here, try and get these cars upright, back onto the tracks, and go from there. We have not heard if that evacuation is in place yet, as we're told it was likely about an hour ago from DEP. Kara?
All right, Luke, I'm just getting some new information. And by the way, thank you for that incredible view of we can see the derailment right behind you to really understand what's going on here in Mansfield. I'm being told right now there's no evacuation order. It is now shelter in place in that area, shelter in place. Can you confirm? We're also hearing that we don't have any word of injuries right now.
I've heard that as well. No injuries. That is what we're hearing from police as well as DEP, of course, being Mansfield here. This is Troop C territory, state police territory. And they are telling us no injuries as well as DEP, so that is good news. But let's go back in on this scene here, because we do have a number, given the nature of what these cars were carrying. There is a number of fire crews, fire marshals, so on and so forth, that are here making sure that this area is safe and making sure that this area is secure, given that this is a flammable, dangerous substance that was being carried inside of these train tracks, or inside of these train cars, that is, when they went off the tracks earlier this morning. Again, some of them down in the Willimantic River. So this is no doubt going to be a very precarious situation, a very careful situation for crews for the next few hours, several hours, as they try and right this situation throughout the day today.
And right now we also have reached out to Yukon officials, and we're hearing that they are not affected by this train derailment right now. But just give us an idea, because this area where we showed Pinpoint News Tracker, you're not that far away from Yukon, right? And with flammable liquids, I guess if I'm a parent of a college student or I work there, I might be concerned.
Right, a couple of miles away from campus. You know, we're really in kind of rural Mansfield here, but we are not far from stores and from the Yukon campus. On my drive up here, I did call some of the folks over there who said that they received word from DEP and they received word from state police that, yes, of course, they've got this situation to contend with here, but it is far enough removed from campus that they don't need to worry about things in stores itself. And like you said a few minutes ago, Kara, we got that new information that that half-mile evacuation route doesn't look like it's going to happen. It's just going to be shelter in place. So that, of course, is good news. That is for the folks who live around here, kind of on the outskirts of the Yukon campus, close to the Willimantic River, close to these tracks where this is all going on right now.
Yeah. And Luke, what's the scene as far as I see some emergency management officials likely behind you blocking that road? I do want to remind people, if you're just traveling in that area, my understanding is Route 32 where you are is closed down. Do you see a lot of other emergency officials, and what do they appear to be doing right now?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of tough to see from our vantage point. A lot of them, you know, kind of working their way down towards the tracks themselves. There is a line of emergency vehicles, fire trucks, ambulances from all across northeast Connecticut. We just saw one from Putnam not far ago, which isn't exactly a hop, skip, and a jump away here. But down near the tracks itself, there's no doubt a number of emergency personnel, a number of crews right there kind of assessing the situation and trying to figure out the course of action over the next few hours as they try and get the train upright and back onto the tracks.
All right, Luke, and I know some people might have just hopped on the feed and are streaming with us and just trying to get caught up here. We are covering breaking news in Mansfield, where a train derailment has just happened with cars that are carrying flammable liquefied natural gas, according to the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. And we understand several of those cars are in a nearby river, and we have a shelter-in-place order. You were telling us how many cars you think are in that river right now, Luke. Can you update us on that again?
Yeah, we've heard from DEEP there are at least 5. The river is kind of down a ways from where the tracks are. So from where we are right now, up on 32, which is closed, big field between us. It's hard to tell how many are in the river itself, but DEP says at least 5 are in the Willimantic River, and we know that there are at least 14 train cars derailed in all. You can see a lot of them still up on land here as those emergency crews kind of assess the situation down there.
This is an emergency response right now happening as 21 degrees out there, 11:06. I can see the trains. Do we have any idea what caused these trains to derail? Does it have anything to do with this frigid weather we're experiencing?
Have not heard anything in that regard yet, Kara, about what may have caused this. We do know it was a little bit earlier this morning. And of course, just to be clear, this is a freight train. These are not, passenger trains, passenger rails up this way. We know that this is being operated by New England Central. And that was who is operating these trains and these particular routes up here in this part of the state. And again, it's 14 cars in all that have derailed right here parallel to Route 32.
Okay, and this happened right at Route 32, Stafford Road, 9:20 this morning. The town has said the road is closed between routes 275 and Route 44 as we look live at this train derailment in Mansfield. I just want to let our viewers know on Channel 3 we are sending you back to regular programming, but we are going to continue streaming on WFSB Plus and the app. So if you need to know more about this train derailment in Mansfield, just a couple of miles away from Yukon, we will also have team coverage on Eyewitness News at noon coming up at 3. But I'm going to stay with your reporter, Luke Hydash, who's on the scene showing us the live train derailment right now. There is a shelter-in-place order. My understanding is you don't have to evacuate. They just want people to stay in the house. And I imagine, Luke, we are talking about, this highly flammable liquid, so that's got to be a concern for folks out there.
Yeah, of course, and that is why you've got this shelter in place in effect right now for the immediate area around Route 32 here in Mansfield. We're, right by Ravine Road here. So people who live in this area, it's kind of a rural area. There's a farm, there's some houses kind of away off the beaten path. And these are the people that are being told right now to shelter in place. There was the talk of the evacuation about a half mile away from where this is happening, but that seems to have calmed down, namely because we're not seeing any type of response indicating that any of these carts that were carrying that liquefied natural gas actually broke. There's no reason to believe and no indication that there is any type of toxic in the air right now, toxin in the air that is, but of course, crews right now really trying to assess how they're going to get these carts back up and onto the tracks themselves. As we know, 5 of them have landed in the Willimantic River and 14 in all are off the tracks here.
This hour, state police are telling us no injuries are reported. Yukon is telling us they have no evacuations. None of its operations are impacted on the store's campus. But this rail line is the New England Central, as you mentioned, Luke, and we just don't know at this point if weather was a factor or what caused these trains to derail. Do we know? It's liquefied natural gas, so I imagine not many passengers, more just crew members that would have been operating the train, right?
Right, well said. Yeah, no passenger rail up in this part of the state here. This is all freight trains that come through here every once in a while. Hard to say at this point so early on exactly how many crew members were aboard and how many cars were in this train to begin with. But as far as the number of people who were aboard, as far as the number of the people who were working, that's unknown at this point. But again, we are being told no injuries to anybody who was down there. So that is good news, Kara.
Yeah, and I just want to let our viewers know, and we're showing the map right now so everyone can see. This train that was carrying flammable material has derailed in Mansfield. We know that 5 cars is the report we have on our website right now. We're getting information. 5 cars are in that river, and this is affecting travel because, as you can see on the map where this is happening, as Pinpoint News Tracker shows you, Route 32 is closed down in both directions. That's between Route 44 and North Eagleville Road. Luke, just so we understand the vantage point, where are you?
We're on 32 here. We worked our way up near through the UConn campus, which is about 2 or 3 miles away from where we are now. We're on 32, kind of right near one of these side streets here, and that's how we were able to get a little bit closer and get a little bit of a better vantage point in terms of what is actually happening here. Because at the time when this happened this morning, given that this is flammable material, the possibility of that half-mile evacuation went out, which is why such a large stretch of Route 32 is closed right now, like you were saying, from North Eagleville all the way up to 44 there. So it's a big stretch of 32 that's shut down right now, and that, you got to believe, is because of the possibility of those evacuations that were happening. But now, of course, things have kind of calmed down from when this first happened, and now we're being told it is a shelter in place for the people who live and work in this area. It's a rural area, not far away from the UConn campus, but of course there's lots of farms, as anybody who's familiar with this part of the state knows. Lots of residences kind of here out the beaten path, away from main UConn itself by a few miles.
You're just tuning in to WFSB Plus as we bring you this live breaking news that a train has derailed in Mansfield and there's liquefied natural gas. You're looking at the scene right now, right behind Luke Hydash. And the good news is we have no reported injuries, that UConn is operating normally, and that the order right now is if you live in this area, which fortunately not a lot of people do, but if you are in about this half-mile to 1-mile area is what we're hearing, you should be sheltering in place because we are talking about liquefied natural gas, which is highly flammable. And Luke, we know it's very cold. We have no idea what caused this derailment, though sometimes extreme weather changes can affect the rails in previous train derailments or obstacles on the track. I don't know if some debris had fallen. We just don't really know what caused this at 9:20 this morning.
No, it's so early on, and right now first responders are really kind of still assessing the situation. Of course, they wanted to make sure at the first point that everybody was safe, and we did receive word that there were no injuries. But as far as what caused it, we're so far removed from that point in the investigation. As far as what we've heard right now, you can kind of, get a sense of the distance between the tracks and Route 32 here. So first responders have got to make it away through all this snow, through this field. I got to believe it's part of a farm to get all the way down to the tracks there where those cars are derailed and where some of them have actually landed down into the Willimantic River. But we have not heard from the rail company, DEEP, state police, anybody like that who's leading up this investigation right now about any word of a cause quite yet.
The emergency response unit responded to 14 train cars, 5 of which are in the river. And I believe you said that's the Willimantic River?
I took a quick look at the map this morning. There's a bit of it's Eagleville Lake, which isn't far from here, which feeds right into the Willimantic River. So it's right on the fringe there of the lake itself and the Willimantic River. Okay, and this derailment is the train that derailed is operated by New England Central. You mentioned this is very common for freight trains to go through this area. So this is something that happens on a very regular basis where trains are continually bringing things like this liquefied natural gas through this area. Yeah, these tracks go through here and go kind of through this part of the state. So right now, what you're looking at are live pictures of this scene, of those 14 cars that are off the track. Give me just a second here, Kara, if you could take it away.
Sure, absolutely. As Luke is gathering information, he's live on the scene there, right there. Route 32. This is his vantage point. We're getting a great view of this train derailment, so you can really see what's happening on the scene here live in Mansfield. As I can see right now, at least 6 or 7 workers at the front of the train. 14 cars have derailed. 5 have ended up in the river. This train carrying liquefied natural gas. And what authorities are telling us right now is no one is injured, and as an abundance of caution, there is a shelter-in-place order in Mansfield, in this area around Route 32. So if you happen to be listening and living close to this area, they want you to shelter in place as a precaution. Originally, we had heard that there were evacuations. That is not the case. We can see a lot, as we look live there, a large drum. And again, we're being told that they're carrying liquefied natural gas. So perhaps that is a drum of liquefied natural gas. As Luke has been telling us, it is quite normal for freight trains to go through this area. The good news right now, no one is injured, according to reports from state officials. Right now, there is a no-fly zone over Mansfield, and DEEP officials are just getting on the scene. Of course, we are dealing with gas and water, and they want to minimize environmental impact as quickly as possible, as 5 of these cars have gone into the river. We don't know what caused this to go off the tracks. We do know that from prior derailments, it can be anything from human error to the rail lines being warped to debris. As I close it out here, I just want to check in with your reporter, Luke Hydash, one more time. We're going to be bringing you team coverage at noon. Luke, anything else that you really want viewers to understand where you are right now?
Of course, 32, really the main thing that's going to impact the most amount of people here is the fact that it's such a large stretch of 32 is closed right now, from 44 down towards Eagleville. And I would imagine, given the nature of this scene right now, that this is going to last quite a while, as we have dozens upon dozens of emergency vehicles that are here right now, trudging through the snow to get down to those tracks, trying to assess the situation and trying to figure out the best course of action over the next few hours as they try to get these cars back up onto the tracks, and 5 of them out of the Willimantic River back up onto the tracks, which is no doubt going to be no small feat. It is going to take hours, and expect 32 here to be closed for quite some time.
Okay. Luke Hydash reporting live from the scene of this breaking news where a train has derailed in Mansfield. I'm Kara Sundlin, and our team coverage will continue both on WFSB Plus, the WAX, and Channel 3 for Eyewitness News at noon.